It was recently asked in the comments if I could take a look at the new construction simulator, so the developer sent over a key and I jumped in to see what's digging. I should note that this was the version released in September 22, as they did the ridiculous sin of naming it without any kind of version number, even though there's been previous games. This is a practice I really hope developers stop doing. I'll also note it's not personally my type of game, but I'm happy to take a look anyway just to see how it runs on the deck. Anyway, the good news is that out of the box, it will run on the Steam Deck. However, you will need to, first of all, go into Steam Input to change it over to a generic gamepad profile, otherwise the input simply doesn't work. To do that, you can hit the gamepad icon in your Steam library and pick the generic gamepad profile. And you can also do this while actually in-game by pressing the Steam button, going across to the right and down to controller settings and picking it from there. Now with that out of the way, you can jump right in and it will work, but the performance is quite terrible on the defaults. Thankfully they do include a number of options that you can tweak, and I believe I have it here on a level that sticks almost always quite a bit above 30 frames a second. Here's the settings so that you can match them up if you decide to give this game a go. Most of it has been tweaked quite low because this is a weird monster of a game when it comes to performance. And with my settings here, you are looking at a max of around 2.5 hours on a full charge, with the Steam Deck screen set to 45Hz as well. Performance with my suggested settings here is acceptable enough though, but once again, it would be nice if the developer could just optimize it that little bit more for the Steam Deck and other similar devices. So is the game any good? Well, this is my first time jumping into this series, and so far it seems kind of okay. There's a really nice variety in what you actually get to do in it, and there's quite a lot to learn about the controls. There are so many different control schemes in it that it really will just overload your brain at the start. One of the biggest annoyances being the camera though, especially on a gamepad or Steam Deck, where it often gets in your way. It took me far too long to realise this, but if you click in the left thumbstick, it does unlock the camera, but the game doesn't actually tell you that. And when you go into the camera settings in the control section of the game, it doesn't tell you it there either. But even unlocking the camera like that, it's still quite a nuisance to get it into the correct angle for what you're doing. Apart from that though, so far I have been quite enjoying it. It's not the most realistic game out there. It does come off feeling a bit more on the arcadey side of the controls, and just the way you interact with everything. And there's a few areas that can end up feeling a little bit cheap. However, if you're after a game that lets you deal with all sorts of things and control lots of different heavy machines, it can be quite interesting and quite fun. Although, there will be bugs that you need to battle, like the one where my crane and trailer decided that they hated the laws of physics. And I must admit, it was pretty hilarious to see, but it also made playing it at times a little bit impossible. I mean, what exactly am I supposed to do with this? It's just flying up into the air, and yet I can still interact with it, but I mean, it's not going to reach the floor from way up here now, is it? Thankfully, a reload did fix it, and I was able to continue helping out someone stuck in a ditch, but wow, that was a really fun bug. That is probably one of the funniest bugs I've seen for a while. It's definitely a game that takes some patience, but if you like other simulator games, minus a few bugs and annoying camera controls, Construction Simulator is not bad at all, really. So the good news is that out of the box it will run. Just remember to change over your gamepad profile, otherwise the controls just don't work, and change it to the performance that I noted earlier in the video. And once you've done that, you're pretty much set to go round and do whatever the heck you want. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.